Start with those two running backs. Pretty handful, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very good. They can take the ball anywhere on the field and make it a touchdown. So they're good enough to score from anywhere on the field. I think the last time West Virginia went to Lawrence, I think number 10 had like 200 yards by himself, which so now they got two of them, and one's a little more powerful, a little bigger, and then number one is very, very quick, very elusive, and it's going to be all we got to try to corral these guys.
Is it a concern, those guys' patience, hiding behind those offensive linemen, pressing blocks?
Well, I think they're well coached. They know where they want to run the ball, but they also have great what's the word I'm looking for? They've great vision. They know they've got a good feel. Like I've talked about linebackers having a feel and not running up defensive linemen's behind, and that they do a great job of filling the gap. You'd like to try to force them one way or the other, but they, schematically they know what they're doing. Les has been doing this a long time, both Les's, and so they know how to create problems for you.
So Les Koenning is your cousin?
Well, he says it Koenning, so.
Okay, so
It
can't be related to
It is, yeah, he's a second cousin. Yeah, that's kind of a long story, but anyway.
We got time.
Yeah, I don't know if I got time enough for that. Anyway, I've got three sons, and as most everybody that's got boys know, they tend to fight a little bit when they get a little older, and so how the story goes, and I'll make it real short. Back a long time in East Texas, there was a couple of brothers on this farm, and either one of them pulled a knife on a fist fight, or one of them pulled a gun on a knife fight, or whatever. They got in a big fight, and one of them said, "Hey, I'm out of here." So I'm sure that was my relative, because most of my relatives are from San Antonio, and it's Koenning on my side of the family. And I knew of Les when he played at Texas, played receiver. But then I ran into him at a coaches convention in New Orleans years later, and he looked like, I said, "You got to be related to me." I didn't even know who it was. So it was Les. So, we've talked a bunch, and not recently, but so we've gotten to be acquaintances, and I talked to his dad, and he said, "Yeah, I heard that story, the same one my dad had told me, so that must be true."
I think Shea Campbell's a guy that played a lot more.
Did a great job.
Where are you at with him, and maybe the Mike position in general? How do you feel?
Well, I think that it's we're looking for someone that can be productive. We haven't been as productive there as we feel like we need to be. We're trying to, if I got the right way of saying this, we're trying to see what the guys can do best and kind of feature that. We have made some mistakes in alignment that's hurt us, particularly on runs to the boundary side, and not giving us a chance to be successful. And we seem like we're a little bit hard-headed or not taking the coaching and getting over. So we're probably asking too much of them. And, Shea has come in and done a really good job. He's really, I think, finally recovered from the injury he had in camp. And I think that he played, a really good game, and look for him to play, 50-50, I would say now at least. So.
In trying to figure out what players do best, does that mean that one week they may be better suited to an opponent and play more snaps? Next week it might be the other guy?
Well, in a perfect world where we've, maybe in 3 years down the road where we've had a chance to develop some depth and stuff, if you're playing a team that's spread out all the time, you may only play with one linebacker. You may do like we did at Troy the last few years and play with like a hybrid strong safety like 100% of the time. And you play, and so far we've played a bunch of teams that want to pound it down your throat. So down the road, as we get more depth, we might take out the bandit if we're in the situation we're in now and play a bigger lineman in there, which we did a little bit with Pooler the first game. But with Taj being hurt, it kind of took that off the table. So right now we're trying to get 2 deep and then scrambling to get any 3s. So that's where we're at there. You know, like I said, I'm not being woe is me. I'm just saying right now we're trying to just have the best 11 we can put on the field and then get the next best 11.
Your reaction when you look up, you got 2 true freshmen, safeties back there. What goes through your mind?
Didn't flinch. No, they both did a good job. Now, if you looked over there, my hands were doing that. You know, I don't know. I called. You can't. You can't do that, because if you start acting a different way or showing lack of confidence, you know, your actions always speak louder than anything you can say. Now, you want to be prudent and you know, there's a lot of different ways of preventing them from being able to throw the ball, and sometimes it's from getting to him before he can throw it, which is what I went to somewhat in that game. And we were fortunate because we tipped the ball at the line. There was a whole bunch of plays in that game that it goes back to the old saying, you got to believe in luck to have luck. And Saturday was one of those days where if you're a faithful man like I am, then you feel like, you know, you were in good favor. Or you could say it's luck, or there was just a lot of plays that went your way. Because, you know, football is not like a basketball. Basketball, you throw against the wall, you know exactly how it's going to come off that wall. Whereas a football, there is no telling, you know, how that ball is going to bounce. So it was one of those days that was good for us and not so good for Coach Dorn.
What do you see from Stanley? It looks like he's benefited from the running game.
Who's that?
Stanley, the quarterback.
Yeah, I think he's a management guy. He throws the ball plenty well. I think he throws very accurate footballs. The balls are in front of the receivers, allows them to keep running. I think he manages the game. I haven't seen, but I saw one time that he opened the wrong way in 3 games. I haven't seen anything that would make me believe he's not in complete control, experienced. I think he's really doing a really good job. Last week they opened the field up. 2 previous weeks they were in a lot of 11 and 12 personnel. Last week they went 10, and he shredded Boston College by throwing just basic zone and then running the RPO, or we call stick draws, and getting guys wide open. He single-handedly took that game over. Threw the ball to the right guys, did not miss any wide open guys. I'm very impressed by the way he played.
Vic, like 2 weeks ago, Missouri, Qualls was having trouble like even lifting his right arm, but he seemed to be playing more actively and better this week.
Well, I'm sure they got it braced down pretty good. You know, this is his last year, so like a lot of us, we try to live forever, and he's doing a great job of hanging in there. You know, we've got to figure out something. You know, we've tried Lindsey there. Sandwich got a bunch of reps there. We've got to do something to get more production out of that position. I think Q played way too many snaps for him to be completely effective. There was a lot of missed assignments as he got overly tired. So, you know, we've addressed that. We've got to keep trying to get something out of that position, or more out of that position, like we do a lot of places. We did not play. If you'd have been here Sunday morning while I was grading the film, you probably would have heard me hollering in the film room. We didn't play anywhere close to as good as we can play. We played hard. We knocked the mess out of them. We were physical. We acted like we didn't like them. We really physically, you know, went after them. That being said, we're going to have to, and I expect that we will, play more precise with our reads, with our eye discipline. We gave up a touchdown just because we're looking in the backfield. And that's secondary-wise, and that's me coaching them. We've got to be better in a lot of venues. I do know we hit the quarterback a bunch of times, even after he threw the ball, legally once, maybe not so legal, but, we got to keep getting after the quarterbacks. That does make a difference. I think that forced some throws that weren't exactly perfect. We got to play our techniques. We did a good job in a lot of plays now, and way more than Missouri. Missouri was almost borderline debacle, especially in the first half. But we can be way better than that, and I expect that we better be. The message again to our players is we can do whatever, we can be as good as we want to be. Sometimes it isn't as much physical as it is emotional in between the ears. And if we're ready to go and we have the Mountaineer spirit that Coach Brown is preaching to these guys constantly, and we play with our hair on fire and we play physical, and then we just get that little be smart part in there, not have what we call DAP penalties, and y'all can figure out what that is. We need to not have those and let drives. I think there was 15 plays more than we should have had because we had third downs where we got them off the field, and then we gave them the ball back. So anyway, a lot of things we got to do a lot better, and we got a lot of work cut out for us, and we look forward to a good week trying to coach them up to get them better.